Thoroughbred Week with John Henderson is presented by Adena Springs, BC2A Paste, Bevins Motor Company, Bloodstock Research, Breeders' Cup, Rumfield Hay and Grain, Claiborne Farm, GLC 5500, Gainesway, Horse Sense, IRT, Keeneland, Kinetic, Lane's End, Malone's, OCD Pellets, Pin Oak Stud, Quillen Leather and Tank, Sally Horse Vans, and Thoroughbred Times.
Hi everyone, I'm Kate and Bradar filling in for John Henderson on this edition of Thoroughbred Week, featuring stakes action from 7 different tracks, including the Grade 1 Del Mar Futurity and the Grade 2 Super Derby. We begin with the Presque Isle Mile. Eternal Rule, the 2-1 favorite. Ron Mullis has the call.
To the far turn they go. The half was 48 flat as Eternal Rule continues to show the way. I'm stepping it up, right up alongside in second. Plutonium down up along the rail third. Then up to the outside is Jimmy Sims, now moving up into fourth, and then it's Bergerac. At the top of the stretch, though, Eternal Rule has led every step of the way. I'm stepping up, still in second. Jimmy Sims now tacking up in third. Plutonium down along the rail. Alma de Oro in the middle of the track, and Hurricane Ike mid-stretch. Eternal Rule continuing to show the way. I'm stepping it up, needing more. So is Jimmy Sims to the outside. Alma de Oro. Eternal Rule trying to hold off Alma de Oro to the outside. It's Eternal Rule on the rail. Alma de Oro coming after. Eternal Rule wins it.
Favored Eternal Rule, the front-running winner by a length over Alma de Oro. Jesse Campbell up in 137-2. Eternal Rule won the first 5 starts of his career, including 2 stakes, before finishing second in the Grade 3 Bold Venture Stakes. The colt by Tribal Rule was bred in Ontario by his owner, Donald Myers. Trained by Sid Attard, Eternal Rule has earned $470,000. Next, the Grade 3 Arlington Washington Lassie, flying Rapunzel, the 5-2 favorite. John Dooley picks up the call.
It's a strong pace out in front. The quarter in 22 4/5 seconds and a half mile in 45 3. It's the Song who's taking the lead now as they enter the turn. The Song leads by a length and a half. Papa Scat right there with 3 furlongs to go. Flying Rapunzel between fillies. Gold Edge fourth with the rail as they move through the turn. Bridget Bordeaux is fifth. You bought her wide 6th. Dancing in the Circle is 7th, 5 from the front, and the Song has the quarter pole in sight. Then American Sugar, Sweet Redemption, Dancing Ellie Bell, Quiet Success, Custody, and Bethany Bell has trailed, and they're into the stretch. Going down was You Bought Her. You Bought Her, the filly who went down to the 3/16. The Song leads now in the final furlong. Gold Edge's charge on the outside. Dancing in the Circle is right there toward the rail. They come inside the final half furlong. The Song clings on. Dancing in the Circle. Gold Edge charging on the outside. Here's Gold Edge. Gold Edge ran a magnificent mile.
10-1 Gold Edge by Claiborne Farm stallion Eddington gets up to take it by a neck over 36-1 La Song, who noses out 12-1 Dancing in the Circle for place. Chris Amy, the winning jockey, in 137-4. Gold Edge now undefeated in 3 starts. The Lon Wiggins trainee broke her maiden for a $50,000 claiming tag at Churchill Downs before winning the Lisa M Stakes at Arlington. The winner was bred in Kentucky by her owner, Dolphus Morrison, the breeder and original owner of Horse of the Year Rachel Alexandra. Gold Edge has earned $138,000. There's more racing coming up, but first, here's the upcoming schedule in the Breeders' Cup Win and You're In Challenge Series. Welcome back to Thoroughbred Week with the Grade 1 Del Mar Futurity coming up in this segment. We begin with 2-year-old turf horses at Louisiana Downs in the Sunday Silence Stakes. Brown Almighty, the 11-10 favorite. Here's track announcer Travis Stone.
Brown Almighty's half was 47 3/5 seconds. Hits the far turn with Sequoia Wells coming on again. Sequoia Wells with a bid. Kamchatka 4 wide on the far outside. And Java's War is set to strike right in behind. Mr. Bandini's band with a big move on the far turn too. They come to the top of the stretch. Kamchatka has grabbed the lead off the turn, but Brown Almighty responds right back. Java's War swings wide for the final 1/8 of a mile. And then it's Mr. Bandini's band down to the final 16th. Brown Almighty's trying to fend off the oncoming Java's War. Brown Almighty, half a length. Now it's a neck. Now it's a head. Here's Java's War surging past.
8 to 5 second choice. Java's War runs by Brown Almighty to defeat the favorite by a neck. Richard Aramia up in 136-3. Fifth in his first start at Churchill Downs, Java's War was coming off a maiden victory over the Ellis Park course. The colt by Warpass was bred in Kentucky by his owner, Charles Fipke. Trained by Kenny McPeak, Java's War has earned $110,000. To Woodbine now for the Swinford Stakes. Only 4 went postward, with Uncaptured, the 1-5 favorite. Dan Lizelle picks up the call.
5 iron and Dan the Tin Man Matt strides. The favored Uncaptured lurks just in behind them in third, and Platitude is fourth and 4 lengths off the lead, continuing to slug it out up front. Dan the Tin Man and 5 iron. Uncaptured starts to inch closer midpoint of the turn. 45-1 for the opening half mile. Dan the Tin Man Uncaptured is wheeled to the far outside and is gaining ground now as they straighten away. Uncaptured is widest. Dan the Tin Man in the center. Solis imploring 5 iron for more run at the rail, but Uncaptured is kicked away by 2.5 now. Last 16th of a mile. A Swinford stroll in the park for the undefeated Uncaptured.
Odds-on favorite Uncaptured draws off to defeat 5 iron by 3 1/4 lengths, with Dan the Tin Man third for a sweep by Keeneland sales graduates. Patrick Husband's aboard in 122-2. Uncaptured is perfect in 4 starts, including 3 stakes wins over the track. The colt by Lionheart was bred in Ontario by William Graham. Trained by Mark Cassey, Uncaptured has earned $334,000 for John Oxley. The colt was consigned by 4-star sales to the 2011 Keeneland September yearling sale, where he was purchased by Cassey for $290,000. Undefeated multiple stakes winner Uncaptured, the Keeneland sales graduate of the week. Next, the Grade 3 Arlington, Washington Futurity, Muppet Man, the odds-on favorite at 70 cents on the dollar. Once again, here's John Dooley.
Muppet Man leads at 3-5. Muppet Man being shadowed there on the outside by Stormy Monarco, and Pataki Kid is close with the rail. Scissortail G, the filly, running in fourth. And the half mile for Muppet Man on the straightaway, 46 and 4/5 seconds. Milute is fifth, but covering a lot of ground as they go to the top of the turn. Urban Renewal is toward the inside, 5 lengths back. Then comes Glencoe Kid and Ultimo Trago being driven in last. It's Muppet Man in hand as they come toward the quarter pole. Muppet Man, Milute is racing outside of Stormy Monarco with the green cap. Pataki Kid holds the rail. Urban Renewal, Glencoe Kid, Scissortail G and Ultimo Trago last into the stretch. 3/4, 1:11-2. A furlong to go. Muppet Man, Pataki Kid, and here's the battle on the edge of the 16th pole. And Pataki Kid has the measure of Muppet Man. Stormy Monarco third. Pataki Kid weaved course. Pataki Kid is clear for Garrett Gomez. Pataki Kid wins by 3.
2-1 second choice Pataki Kid runs by Muppet Man to defeat the odds-on favorite by 3 lengths. Garrett Gomez aboard the Keeneland sales graduate in 137-2. Third in his first start at Churchill Downs, the Tom Proctor trainee was coming off a maiden victory over the Arlington Poly track. The colt by Rockport Harbor was bred in Oklahoma by H. Allen Poindexter and was a $62,000 Keeneland September yearling. Swifty Farms purchased the winner for $95,000 as a 2-year-old. Pataki Kid has earned $116,000. That brings us to the Grade 1 Del Mar Futurity. No more the 8-5 favorite. Trevor Denman has the call.
And away they go. I've struck a nerve, broke a little outwards at the start, but overall a tidy beginning. All rushing for the lead here. No More is showing some good speed. Caballo del Cielo in the blue is right there too on the far side. Rolling Fog is in the vanguard as well. Down at the rail, here comes Capo Bastoni now pulling his way up to be a joint third. Switch to the lead, another one in there. They're very compact. No More is now back in 6, just 3 lengths off these leaders. Pure Loyalties on the far side, being followed then by Air of Storm. Gabriel Charles is down at the rail. Far side the whole deal, and Ives struck a nerve. No more than 5 lengths would cover the lot. Compact as they go into the turn. Caballo del Cielo. Caballo del Cielo tries to shake loose now. Rolling Fog is right there in second. On the far side, Shearer Magic. Between horses, we have Switch to the lead. Capo Bastoni in the black down at the rail. No More is now starting his run as well. Extreme Outside, Pure Loyalty's in with a shot wide open. They turn for home now, and Rolling Fog gets a narrow advantage. No More on the outside. Shearer Magic is in with a big shot as well. Capo Bastoni on the inside. They come for home. Rolling Fog, No More with a late run, but Rolling Fog's clear. Rolling Fog too good, and Rolling Fog is going to score.
Rolling Fog holds off the late charge of favored No More by a length and a quarter. A record 13th stakes victory of the meeting for Del Mar's leading jockey, Rafael Bejarano. The two-time OBS sales graduate clocked in 1:22 and 4. A first-out maiden winner over the track, Rolling Fog gives Hall of Fame trainer Bob Baffert his record 11th win in the Del Mar Futurity. This victory earns the colt an automatic berth in the Breeders' Cup Juvenile. The colt by Posse was bred in Florida by British Mist Racing and Breeding and was a $7,500 OBS January yearling turned $62,000 OBS April 2-year-old. Rolling Fog has earned $222,000 for Arnold Zetcher. Del Mar Stakes action is presented by IRT, flying your horse with care for over 40 years. The Lane's End Stallion of the Week is the beautifully bred Aftermarket, a son of Stormcat out of Grade 1 winner Tranquility Lake. Aftermarket is the sire of Renee's Queen, who broke her maiden last week in the $100,000 Oak Tree Juvenile Fillies Turf Stakes. Welcome back to Thoroughbred Week, with an undefeated winner of the Grade 3 British Columbia Derby coming up in this segment. We begin with turf horses at Belmont Park in the Grade 2 Bowling Green Stakes. Air Support, the 7-5 favorite. Tom Durkin has the call.
About 6 furlongs out here, and it is Newsdad on narrow lead. Bombagay is second on the inside, 5 furlongs remaining. The pace is still relatively slow here. At the back of the pack, all lined up together, are Air Support down inside, Brilliant Speed on the outside, and Brujo de Olleros, who's coming under a bit of a ride with a half mile to go. They run 3/4 of a mile in 1:14 and 4. On the far turn now, and it's Bombagia stretching that lead to a bit more than a length. Bombagia now out there by almost 2. Here's Brilliant Speed on the outside. Here's Air Support at the rail. Newsdad, nothing left. Brujo de Olleros way at the back of the pack. Bombagia set the pace the whole way, and he'll hit the quarter pole in full stride as the field turns for home. Bombagia the leader. Air Support full out second. Brilliant Speed back there in third. 1 furlong to go here. Edgar Prado and Bombagia still holding on to that lead, but Air Support is finding his very best stride in the final furlong here. Here's Air Support and Bombagia trying to fight back. Those two matching strides down to the line. It's very close. It looks like Air Support won it by a nostril.
Favored Air Support by Lane's End Stallion Smart Strike outfinishes Bombagia to take it by a head. John Velasquez, the winning jockey, in 2:06 flat. A 2-time graded stakes winner as a 3-year-old, the Shug McGahee trainee had been winless in 5 previous starts this season, but he was runner-up in both the Colonial Turf Cup and the Grade 1 United Nations Stakes. The 4-year-old colt was bred in Kentucky by his owner, Stuart S. Janney III. Air Support has earned $892,000. Sprinting fillies and mares in the Grade 2 Presque Isle Downs Masters Stakes, Groupie Doll, the 3-5 favorite. Once again, here's Ron Mullis.
It's Me Mom, has it by 3 lengths over Interrogate. Then along the inside, Atlantic Hurricane is next. Now Groupie Doll is moved up into 4th. Then along the inside, Sweet Cassiopeia. Then it's Sally to the outside, and Kitty and a Tizzy around the turn after the half in 44 and 3. Quick times here. It's Me Mom trying to hold off the charge. Groupie Doll swings to the outside next. Holiday for Kitten out in the middle of the track. They straighten up for the drive home. It's Me Mom still holding on to the lead. Here comes Groupie Doll and Sally to the far outside. It's Me Mom. Groupie Doll now takes over the lead, and Groupie Doll starts to pull away. It's Groupie Doll, and she's the queen. Groupie Doll wins the Masters.
Odds-on favorite Groupie Doll rolls to a 3 3/4 length victory over long shot Kitty and a Tizzy. Rajiv Mirage aboard in 1:16 and 1, a 99 brisk speed rating. The 3rd consecutive graded stakes victory for Groupie Doll following the Grade 1 Vinery Madison Stakes and the Grade 1 Humana Distaff Stakes. The 4-year-old filly by Bowman's Band was bred in Kentucky by Fred Bradley and his son, trainer Buff Bradley. Racing for the Bradleys, along with Carl Hurst and Brent Burns. Groupie Doll has banked nearly $928,000. Groupie Doll paid $3.40 to win and is the Malone's favorite of the week, presented by Malone's, Lexington's favorite steakhouse. To Hastings Park for the Grade 3 British Columbia Derby. Trainer Troy Taylor sent out 3 starters with the entry of Devil in Disguise, Taylor's Deal, and Hoist bet down to 2-5. Dan Jukic picks up the call.
Into the clubhouse turn they go. The half, 46-1 as they race to the half-mile marker now. It's Hoist and Doug's buddy, their noses apart. On the outside, High-End Man and the Gov race together. Making up ground on the inside is Taylor's Deal. Devil in Disguise in between runners. Guitars Pearls on the outside, followed by Wilo Cat, Second City, the Honorable One, and El Capone. Into the far turn they roll. 6 furlongs, 1:11-1. Mad Scramble up front with the lead now. Here's moving through is Hoist. It's still Hoist. Circling wide, Devil in Disguise. High-End Man, the Gov. Second City, he's on the move, and he's closing from last. Taylor's Deal, not today. Down the lane they come. It is Hoist under an all-out drive. Second City deep on the track. Second City now grabs the lead. Second City, Hoist, and Devil in Disguise. Second City to score in the Derby.
Second City scores by 2 3/4 lengths, followed by the favorite entry of Devil in Disguise, Hoist, and Taylor's Deal. Richard Hamill aboard in 1:50-4. After impressively winning his first 3 starts at Penn National and Charlestown, Second City was purchased privately by Peter Redekop and sent to trainer Craig McPherson to run in the BC Derby. The gelding by Distorted Humor was bred in Kentucky by Darley. Second City has earned $172,000. Now to John and Joel for the TCI Minute, your inside track to the Breeders' Cup, presented by Escandrea, standing at TaylorMade Farm.
This week on TCI, we discuss turf racing at Woodbine. JC, of course, that includes the Woodbine Mile, a race that typically has huge implications on the Breeders' Cup turf.
You know, it really does, John. It's $1 million race up for grabs, but just look at last year's Breeders' Cup Mile. If you want to know how important this race is this weekend, you had Court Vision come out, win at big odds over Goldacova and all those superstars from Europe, and then the runner-up in there was Tour Lure, who was the winner of last year's Woodbine Mile. So a very important race, particularly in North America, to sort of distinguish the top North American milers heading up to the Breeders' Cup.
All right, tell me, do you see this trend continuing, and who do you like in the race?
You know, I do, John. Wise Dan's our best turf miler right now, in my opinion. His win last time out at Saratoga was dynamite. You'll see him back in here. He should love that one-turn configuration at Woodbine. Now, there is an interesting Euro at Cityscape for Juddmonte. He's no Frankel, but he's a pretty good miler in his own right.
All right, thank you, Joel, and thank you guys for watching. Make sure you come back next week right here on Thoroughbred Week.
Coming up, a rising 3-year-old star in the Super Derby. Time now for the feature race of the week, presented by Keeneland, investing in racing's future since 1936. It's the Grade 2 Super Derby from Louisiana Downs. California shipper Blue Skies and Rainbows, the 8-5 favorite. Here's the call by Travis Stone.
And they're off in the Super Derby. And Master Rick goes right to the front. Master Rick out to be the leader. Here's Blue Skies and Rainbows punching through toward the inside. And Hero of Order is right up there too. And those 3 race for the clubhouse turn together. And Joe Talamo and Blue Skies and Rainbows to be the pacemakers. And Hero of Order is right alongside in second. Mr. Bluegrass Music up close to the pace, running in third. Master Rick is away fourth. Key Donation settles in toward the inside fifth, right alongside a 10-saw Cold Front, who's running in sixth around the clubhouse turn. 3 lengths back to Bourbon Courage and Fly Lexus Fly, and stretch running Rousing Sermon at the back of the pack. First quarter, 23 seconds flat. The pace is very solid. There's 5 furlongs to go. Blue Skies and Rainbows sets the tempo with Hero of Order pressing this pace right along. They go to the half-mile pole together. 3 lengths back to Master Rick, who has taken over third. Mr. Bluegrass Music losing ground, coming under the whip. Here's Key Donation advancing up, moving toward the inside. Good move by Richard Aramia to save ground onto the far turn. And Bourbon Courage is picking it up too, circling up on the far outside. 10-saw Cold Front tries to move with that one. They're within 3 lengths of the lead. From the back of the pack, Rousing Sermon in Fly Lexus Fly. The pace setters are tired. Blue Skies and Rainbow gives way with Hero of Order, and Master Rick comes away with the lead, and they come off the turn in the Super Derby. Bourbon Courage to the attack on Master Rick. Off the turn, Master Rick digs down. Bourbon Courage continues to close. They're head to head and shoulder to shoulder with a furlong to go, and now Bourbon Courage is getting the better of Master Rick, and he's pulling away late. Bourbon Courage clear by 2. Bourbon Courage clear by 3. Bourbon Courage wins the Super Derby.
5-2 second choice Bourbon Courage draws off to win by 5 lengths over Fly Lexus Fly, who noses out Master Rick for place. Leandro Goncalves aboard in 151-2. The first stakes victory for Bourbon Courage, who was last seen finishing a closing second in the Grade 2 West Virginia Derby. Kaylin Gorder trains the winner. The colt by Lionheart was bred in Kentucky by Oscar and Eloise Penn and was a $15,000 yearling. Bourbon Courage has earned $520,000 for Bourbon Lane Stable and Wayne Lynn. Leandro Goncalves with the safe ride of the week, presented by Sally Horse Fans, the safest way to the winner's circle. A big weekend of racing at Woodbine with 6 graded stakes, including the Grade 1 Woodbine Mile and the Grade 1 Northern Dancer Stakes. And 3-year-old turf fillies featured at Belmont Park in the Grade 1 Garden City Stakes. We'll have those races along with graded stakes action from Arlington Park and Kentucky Downs next week here on Thoroughbred Week.
Thoroughbred Week with John Henderson has been presented by Adena Springs, BC2A Paste, Bevins Motor Company, Bloodstock Research, Breeders' Cup, Brumfield Hay and Grain, Claiborne Farm, GLC 5500, Gainesway, Horse Sense, IRT, Keeneland, Kinetic, Lane's End, Malone's, OCD Pellets, Pin Oak Stud, Quillen Leather and Tack, Sally Horse Fans, and Thoroughbred Times. Online at tbredweek.com.